distracted.
Do you say bablam bablam for these individual ones? How do I know we've started?
Nah, you just have to go with it. Eventually I just introduce myself. So for tonight, we're doing G's individual episode. I'm BurrowsRed, I am the Dungeon Master, I do some shit, and we also have with us tonight Maleficent, who is playing G. Tell us about yourself.
I also do some shit. I think that's a good intro. I'm a streamer and a cosplayer, and I do some shit. I usually say it's bullshit. I do a lot of bullshit. But that's me.
For anyone playing along, let's do a counter for the amount of times in this episode that we say shit. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I think we're already up to like 5 or 6.
It's also very true. It hasn't even been like 2 minutes yet.
Not to derail, but maybe that's what we should have called our podcast.
Maybe. All right. So, this individual episode is a bit different to the ones that we've done before because this is actually taking place pre-campaign. So, Mel wanted to work a little bit about what happened to G before the campaign started. And I had some ideas. And so rather than just sitting down and writing them all on paper, we figured we'd forever immortalize them into an individual episode, which is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be a time. If we tried to write it down, I would have just changed the backstory. It would have been like the Joker in the Dark Knight. Is it the Dark Knight? Just like, you want to know how I got these scars? Different story every single time.
Yeah, no, that's it. Look, honestly,
which in itself would have been fun. Let's just not do this.
Yeah, so you're just trying to talk yourself out of it now because you're just nervous.
Yes.
It's weird when it's one-on-one, but trust me, it gets easier. Anyway. So, you and Carter are standing on the edge of one of your balconies, one of your many balconies, with a whiskey glass in hand, staring off into the night, preparing yourselves for, in what will be in an hour or so, one of the first house parties that you've thrown in a long time, and especially the first one that you've been trusted to throw on your own. Carter's sitting there, kind of leaning across the edge. She's wearing like, kind of like what you would consider casual for her, but her casual is very fancy. And her hair is pinned back, and she's just kind of sitting there, swirling that glass round and round and just leaning against the railing. What would G be doing?
Right now I'm thinking that my best friend is a little bit terrifying. But probably about the same. Probably a lot of nervous energy since, yeah, it's been a while since she was trusted to do anything by herself. Is there good reason for that? Yeah, small talk.
Makes sense. Carter will just kind of like, you know, you'll kind of start spouting off all of these things to her, and eventually she'll just kind of sit back and she'll just have a little laugh to herself, and she'll just turn to you, and you know Desmond will handle most of it, right?
Well, yeah, and he does really, really well, but I mean, it's my party, so if it goes badly, it's my fault.
I don't know that anyone would necessarily blame you, but sure. You can blame your parents, say it was an awful upbringing or something.
It was.
Like we haven't used that excuse before.
It doesn't often work.
Yeah. To be fair. Very true.
Works more for me than it does for you, at least.
If only. Anyway, I actually have a bit of a favor for tonight.
Yeah?
I'll be here for a while, but obviously I need to leave after a time, and there are some people that I need you to look out for.
Sure. Who?
The first one is he's kind of an important... Honestly, I don't really know what he is. He is an elf from Mineus. He's kind of worked his way up in the Senate there. His name is Tarron Keller. You won't miss him. Tall, long dark hair, dreamy eyes.
That sounds... I can watch that.
He has been having interesting closed-door conversations. The dog. No. And
With werewolves.
I'm concerned. There have been rumors that some of the people he's associated with have been known to be a part of the Ravens.
Oh. You know, I haven't paid an awful lot of attention to that, but, what... Do you want me to ask questions, or just, like, see who's associating with, or... What's the plan? What am I to do with him?
Well, yeah, I mean, finding who he's associating with would be great. At the moment, I think just earning his trust. You know? You're a very important person. You're friends with me. I guess that's important enough. But we just need him to know that you're on his side.
I can do that.
Okay. And yeah, just anything you can find out maybe about any people he's been talking to, or maybe even what his business is in a den again. It's not weird to see people from Maneus. It's only, 3 days from here, but it seems a bit strange that he's around now.
Okay, done. Who else?
The second's a bit more, sensitive. You know my royal advisor?
Which one?
But
You've got a few.
long red hair.
Rosie?
Rosie, yes.
Oh, what did she do?
Well, I don't know. She's come to me with claims that she seems to be... She's feeling uneasy, and she's received certain threats, and that's don't get me wrong, that is a part of the job. There are some people who aren't very keen on royalty, and therefore have to deal with series of threats and not very nice emails and general customer service bullshittery.
Yep.
However, she's been sending closed letters. 1 or 2 in the mail. I haven't dared open them yet because I'm just not sure. And I think that, you know, with you two have known each other for a while now. She's been my advisor for 5 years? I think you might have the best chance of working it out without me asking her directly.
I can do that. I think she likes me enough.
Good, good.
I'll be subtle.
Subtle.
I can do that.
I don't think I've ever seen you be subtle in your life.
I don't think that's fair. No, that's pretty fair. I think I'm not old yet. I can learn new things.
Okay. I trust you.
Yeah.
Just like when we were kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Have you spoken with Camphor lately?
Not really. In passing.
He's, his situation's been getting worse. He's really sick, and and they don't know why. And he's just getting so thin and so sore and tired. It's just really starting to get to me. Which isn't fair, it's not happening to me. But...
Oh, it kind of is.
I guess. I sent some scholars through to kind of try and look into it, but they don't really have the facilities over here, and I don't know, I'm just really worried. But anyway, that's why I'm leaving this to you. You know, delegating some tasks. I think you'll be up to it.
It's not my magnificent skills and subtlety, then.
Clearly, that's why you were chosen for the job. And she like chinks your glass and then has a sip.
I just have to tuck my dog in. She's being great. Hopefully she'll go to sleep now. I feel like I have a toddler. G will also have a drink.
But yeah, basically just have some drinks with them, see what you can work out. Try and make friends in the best way that you know how, and maybe try to keep your parents out if you can.
Yeah, that's always the plan, but you know what they're like.
True. But they're a tad overbearing.
Oh no. No, really?
You practicing that subtlety on me?
Yeah.
Could use a little more practice.
Thanks.
Anyway, I believe. I know that you can do it. It'll be fine.
I can just feel the faith radiating off of you.
Of course. And she'll wink at you. And she'll kind of like stand up, collect herself, brush off her dress, or like her dress pant thing. And she'll kind of give you like a short, curt nod, and she'll head on out of the house. Desmond will kind of wave at her as she goes past, before heading out onto the balcony and seeing you there, and we'll just... Lady G.
I have a job to do tonight. I am gonna be a spy.
Were you ever not a spy?
Well, I mean, unofficially.
So you're an official spy now?
I mean, I didn't get a badge or anything, but I feel like that was an official request.
Do you want a badge?
I always want a badge.
Okay.
I feel like spy badge is probably not a good idea. I feel like spies are supposed to, not have a badge that says, I am a spy. But maybe we could get me, like, a secret one.
We can see what we can do.
Excellent.
Anyway, the preparations are nearly done. I'd suggest you go get dressed and we'll get ready for it.
Excellent. Okay.
Perfect. And so we zoom on through. The next hour goes quickly. You kind of spend some time to pick out your outfit. What would G go with? This is pre-campaign G. No lace mask for this.
G. I know. I had that for so long. G's color scheme has always been like blacks and deep blues. But I feel like earlier on, like before the campaign, she would have been more dresses than pants. I feel like the pants came around the same time as the length, and she decided she was being practical. But this is pre-practical G. Whatever she is wearing is shiny and big. Like, hi, this is my party. This is my house. If you're going to notice anybody, it has to be me. If you walk in the room, I would like the first person you see to be me, because this is my house.
Makes sense, makes sense. So you exit your room having just made yourself up. You know, you've got the highlighter on thick and, you know, you just look like this dazzling beauty. Aside from the fact that your skin already has a ASMR glow to it. And you head on downstairs. Desmond is there by a table in the middle of the foyer. It's like a large round table set up with some card games and things. And to the sides are roughly half a dozen cocktail tables. So round, tall tables that are lined with empty glasses and buckets filled with ice and just kind of the standard setup for kind of an intimate but still important house party.
Excellent.
And the door knocks. And slowly but surely the room fills.
You said the door knocks and I was like, it's a mimic.
What did I say about combat? Fuck you!
What did I say about combat? I have 10 HP. Let's not.
Alright, so the door opens and people begin to fill into the room. You see some faces of people that you've known for years. Some snide faces of people that you've known for years. You see some of the people that your parents would most likely associate themselves with at court. And with a quick glance, there are a few that Desmond goes and has a quiet word with that you know aren't meant to be here. Just kind of standard court stuff. You spot a taller elf with long dark hair enters the room. And he has these dreamboat eyes. And you recognize him from the description that Carter gave you as Tarron. And he goes to one of the corners, grabs an empty glass, and helps himself to some of the wine. Some more people file in. A lot of them are more the younger faces, like it's more the younger crowd at this point. And then Rosie walks in. Rosie, always ready for an entrance. She comes in. She's wearing head to toe this long red dress it's got long lace sleeves and it's covered in diamantes and things that reflect the light, and it's just drawing as much attention to herself as possible. And she moves around the room as though it's like a wave moving, and like her dress moves in certain ways. It's got different layers of like, I would imagine like kind of like a weird chiffon looking thing. You know those really like frilly dresses?
Yep.
That look really cool when they're moving, but when they stand still, they look weird.
Yeah, because I've got all of that. I'm not going to go into dress construction, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
The point is there, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Car goes past.
Yeah, sorry.
And then the party begins. People start chatting. Having their normal little setups at each of the different places. They've kind of set themselves up in like little groups around the cocktail tables, as people naturally tend to do, kind of finding people that they know and that kind of thing. Tarron has found himself by the big table. Rosie has found herself by another group of people. This is one of the groups of nobles that you would have grown up with at this point. And everyone's kind of nervous chatters. This is like the, hi, how are you? How are you going? How are the kids? Like, you know, that kind of part of the evening. Desmond looks to you and he gives you a look, and you know what that look means. You've seen it happen before. This is the, do I bring the shots out now?
As people have been here for 5 minutes, it's absolutely time for shots. Which if people are being awkward, it is absolutely time for shots.
All right, so you give the signal. Desmond nods his head. And suddenly, a dozen servants holding trays with, like, held up by their hands, move deftly through each of the people in the party, offering them shots. And then they move to the other side of the room and they make sure that everyone has had one or has some water or whatnot throughout the night, throughout the time. And then they do a second round. And just making sure that everyone has their drink and making sure that everyone's satiated and such. And then they bring out the food immediately after that. Which, you know, responsible servers of alcohol serve the food first, but, you know, it's whatever. And they set up these grand lots of roast meats, gorgeous salads, and just fruit that you would find not of Aden, but instead maybe from the south. Things that would have been imported, though locally to the realms. And generally it's just a very exquisite event. But gee, you need to work out where you're going first. What's your plan? What's your plan of attack for this party?
I am first going to attack. I'm going to go visit Rosie first because I actually know her.
Okay.
I'm gonna like say hi to people that I walk past on my way there. I'm not just like single focused because she can be silent. She can be subtle.
Okay, I like it. So, as you walk past, you're kind of doing the general, like, you know, thank you for coming, really appreciate you here, like, there's drinks over here, there's food here, how are you?
The kind of where you'd, like, tap everybody on the arm to be like, hello, I'm paying you special attention, but you're doing it to absolutely everybody, because nobody's special.
And you also, like, pull up, like, random little, like, almost like buzzwords with everyone, like, things that you know is like something that they're interested in or whatever. Like you might talk about someone's knitting or things like that to kind of like show that you remember things about them, but kind of only really doing it on a surface level. You know that. They don't know that. And then you head your way over and Rosie's found herself in a group full of nobles. How do you approach this group?
Hello, I'm the most important person in the room. Like, no nervous energy there. What would that be like?
I know, right?
She's a decent amount taller than me, I think, isn't she? I think most people are a decent
I
amount taller
mean,
than
you're
me.
5'5", right?
Yeah, I'm knee height.
Should be sitting about...
I rolled that, by the way.
Oh.
Again.
Oh, that's awkward. So she'd be sitting like about 5'9", 5'10". She's like an inch taller than Terra.
Yeah, that's not a huge amount. I'm assuming I'm probably wearing some kind of heeled boots, but she probably is wearing heels as well.
That's also true.
Because she gotta be fancy. What? Go away. I love you. Bye-bye. That's how I say goodbye to the last person in the line before I head over to Rosie. I love you. Bye-bye. And I've lost my train of thought. You know when you walk up to someone that you're pretty good friends with and you kind of like put like an arm around their waist and you're like, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, sure.
Like the really, really familiar best friends kind of hello.
Perfect. You do that and Rosie returns it. You know, most people kind of like, say most people, us, we would kind of shy away and just kind of like, you know, be comfortable with it because we're friends with them, but kind of just like not return it because we are introverted people. However, Rosie returns it. She places an arm like softly around your back and she kind of does that like faux kiss cheek thing that people tend to do.
Yep. You
know, like not actually doing it, but just kind of motioning to do like that mwah.
Yep. Far too much makeup for actual kisses.
Exactly. And she looks at you and goes, gee, darling, how are you doing?
Fantastic. It's so much better that you're here though now, of course.
Of course. Have you been up to much today?
Just this. Supervising this.
Please, I'm sure Desmond had this covered many, many days ago.
Well, yeah, but I didn't want to say it that I was doing nothing.
As any good host should.
What have you been doing? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
What haven't I been doing? Dealing with fun people. Sending in their messages and complaints. It's interesting. But alas.
It's nothing serious, is it?
No, I would be able to handle it anyway.
Oh, I believe you. But I mean, like, if you need someone to talk about it. I did nothing all day.
It's very true. And as she says this to you as well, Desmond will kind of come like to the side of you both and offer you both a shot as well.
am going to take one, and I'm going to take another one, and I'm going to give her one. Not
Okay,
getting
so,
one from,
yeah. All right, sure.
like-
You're not having two?
No way. Well, I mean, I could have two, but then I couldn't offer her one, and then, I only have two hands.
Part of me is so tempted to roll on that random drinks table. I want to.
Oh yeah, let's get super fucked
Let's
up
do it.
immediately, and all the plans go out the window.
Is that not what happened?
A little bit. Do it.
Where are we? There it is. Let's do it. 2 shots coming right up.
Desmond wouldn't kill me. It's not another one of those weird ham drinks, is it?
No, this one actually isn't weird. This one isn't weird. It's sounds weird. So you have it, and you get it doesn't immediately, it has like kind of that whiskey burn, but it also tastes kind of minty as well. It's kind of like that when you've had like a breath mint kind of in the morning, before you brush your teeth, and like it just really hits you really hard. Something like that. It is called Goblin Spit. It is a whiskey and gin mixed drink with some homemade mints.
I was kind of on board with that until you told me what it was called.
Apparently it tastes really good, surprisingly, based on its name, is the actual description.
Yeah.
But
that
yeah.
certainly is a name.
All right, roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Excellent. 16 plus 2, 18. I'm
Easy
so glad I
peasy.
didn't get fucked up on the first drink.
You knock back that drink like it's nothing. Rosie knocks back the drink and just kind of settles into some giggles, and you see like her cheeks have gone a little bit red. And she just looks to you and she just, any party with you, darling. And you're left to the conversation for a while. About how long would you say you'd speak to her, do you think?
Probably not an awfully long time. Maybe like 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
It's a party. You can't stay in one spot for too long.
Makes sense. So 10 minutes passes. It's kind of that natural point where you're about to leave. Where do you go to next?
Just make another circuit of all of the people around. I don't want it to be too obvious that I'm targeting specific people.
Makes sense. All right, so you spend like 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there, maybe 10 minutes talking to that one guy that just does not want to shut up about himself. And then you head around the room a little bit more, and you see that Tarron is still kind of sitting in that center table, kind of just like thumbing around with a drink in his hand.
I'm gonna go over there.
All right. So at this point, an hour more has passed since the end of your conversation with Rosie. And you head on over. You just plop yourself in the seat beside him. What's the opener?
My brain went straight to good morning. But
You're at work.
no,
It's fine.
let's just fucking go with it. Good morning. I don't know you.
Good morning. And he'll look out the window. Evening, I believe.
It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Angie, this is my party. I just thought I'd come say hello.
Hello. My name is Tarron. Sorry, I'm not big on crowds.
This isn't a crowd. This is a very small party.
Right. Do you have these often?
Relatively.
Huh.
So you're
Okay.
not from around here. If this is a party. A big party. A crowd. Obviously.
Well, no, I'm from Mineas. 3 or so days from here. Have you been there before?
Probably. I've been many places. I don't remember it. I mean, that's not like a negative thing. I do a lot of things, and I do a lot of not remembering things.
Like having
What-
small parties.
The small parties might be part of the not remembering things.
Good point. He kind of like is still kind of staring at his drink, like he's looking kind of uncomfortable. Until he spots a pair of playing cards beside him. He looks to you and he looks back to the cards. He picks up the cards and he's like, you know how to play?
What?
I actually don't know a D&D version of cards. Let's go with
Fantasy Snap. I don't know.
let's go with I'm basically thinking poker, but I'm trying to think of like some kind of funny poker. I think it'll be like, yeah, let's just go poker for now, and I'll think of something later, because I feel like the game will change.
I'm going to say G knows how to play poker. I have a very, very loose grasp of poker.
So the way that'll work here is you've got two options.
Okay.
One, you can play fair, which will mean that you will need to roll deception checks in order to like bluff the people at the table. Second is you can try to cheat, which will mean that you have to try and do a sleight of hand check. And you'll have between 3 and 5 rounds, depending on how long you stick in there. And you can do either on each of your turns. And obviously, if I say that you have a good hand, then your DC for your deception is lower.
Okay, that sounds like fun.
Okay. Let's roll some dice.
I really wish I had my level 8 character sheet and my very high deception.
You mean persuasion?
You said deception. I was wondering why it wasn't persuasion. But they're both
Yeah,
the
but
same.
you said perception.
Did I?
Yeah.
My persuasion and my deception are the same. It doesn't matter.
I should say too, your passive perception currently, what would that be?
11.
11. Okay, we'll do a cheeky, you can do a perception roll as well to see if you can spot anyone else cheating.
Okay.
So a series of people sit at the table as Tarron starts drawing out the cards. First round, you get given your cards. Now I'm going to roll a dice and decide just how bad or good your cards are. They're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. So you have two options. One, you can bluff. Two, you can cheat.
Let's just start off straight with cheating.
Start off straight with cheating? Okay. Roll me a
Yep,
sleight of hand
let's
check.
immediately be cheating. Oh, that's not good. That's a 4 plus 3.
Alright. Tarron immediately looks to you and that kind of awkward look on his face kind of changes to a smile instead. It's like you really haven't played this before, have you?
Yes, I have.
Look, if you'd like, I'm more than happy to show you.
I could potentially do with a refresher, but not because I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm sure. I'm just offering to refresh.
Okay, sure.
So you just dejectedly just like, okay. So once you do that, he'll kind of motion to the people at the table and they'll all collect up their cards again and they'll redraw. But while someone does that for everyone there, Tarron will kind of move his chair closer to you and he'll kind of like sit there and wait and kind of explain what's going on at the moment, how the cards are being drawn out, kind of a little bit of a few of the basics of like what kind of cards you'd be looking for and that kind of stuff. And he'll just be like, did you catch that?
Yes.
Very
Mostly.
convincing.
Look, there are things that I am better at than playing cards. Which is honestly just about everything.
A modest one.
Yeah.
All right, so you go through the first round there. Again, because you failed. And you get an excellent hand. Imagine, like, what is it? Let's go with just like a straight flush rather than a royal flush. I think that's like second highest, right? I don't know. It's been a long time since I played poker. And if I'd done a fantasy version, I could have done anything. But I should have done blackjack. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Blackjack is easy. Maybe if I fail at this, we can just switch to blackjack.
Yeah. When you get all drunk, it will just be fine. You just play blackjack. Anyway, so Tarron will place his hand over his mouth and he'll look to you and he'll just go, I don't know that we can do much better than this. This is pretty good.
Okay, good. So I don't pretend that I don't pretend that this sucks, or I do pretend that this sucks so that they think.
Look disappointed. Like I've just told a really shit joke. And you guys just giggle in the corner.
I will pull my grumpiest face, which I guess how grumpy it looks is going to be based on the roll, isn't it?
Yes, deception. You attempt to pull your grumpiest face.
Okay, that is a 15 plus 5, so that's a 20.
Nice.
I look very disappointed.
You have a little bit of a giggle and then immediately your face kind of, you settle back, your eyes look back into your cards and your face just drops. And Tarron just places his hand over his mouth. I would like to also point it out as well that you should have had advantage because Tarron is helping you currently.
See if I can get a nat 20. Nope, that's worse.
Okay, cool. So you guys are just sitting there just kind of like... And a bunch of people start throwing in bucket loads of money. And Tarron kind of looks at you and is just like, wait, did you have money on you? Look, it's fine. I'll do it. It's all right. He pulls out a decent amount.
I don't carry my wallet in my house.
That makes sense. He pulls out like a significant bundle of coins and places them in the center. Second round. Your hand is still looking very good. You had the option of swapping things on the table as per normal to try and improve your hand. However, currently it's the best that it can be.
I have hiccups.
So, are you going to continue the bluff or...
Yeah, no, I'll continue. I will continue. Yes, because if I can't try and pull a card because I pulled a sad face, but my cards are actually good, and I don't want to ruin that. So yes, we'll just continue on with the... I understand how cards work.
Makes sense. So, roll me a deception check with advantage.
Okay. That is a 9. That is a 16, so that's a 21.
Easy peasy. You kind of look like you're about to just like put your head into your hands. Like, you're just kind of sitting there like... Tarron is just kind of slowly shaking his head. You're playing quite the troublesome duo right now. Third round, the cards are drawn into the center. Nothing in there would make your hand any better. Do you want to have a look at any of the other players?
Like how they're reacting, or am I trying to sneak a look at their cards? What am I looking at?
More so, you can try and look at their cards, but however, realistically, you probably won't see anything. More so looking at each of the people and seeing how they're reacting.
Yes.
All right, go for it. Roll me an insight check.
Okay, insight is something I am not good at. That's a 2 plus 2.
Everyone looks pretty like they're concentrating really hard. You've kind of put too much energy into the faking the whole sad thing that you can't really get a gauge on anyone else. All right, so on that note, a few people pull out, what's it called? Fold? Hold. And then, yeah. It's been a
We are
long
expert
time.
gamblers.
Yeah, no one ever judged us for our ability to not gamble.
We are good girls. We have no vices.
Not at all.
No.
Nah, it's
Not
not
one.
allowed. Anyway.
No.
So you... And then you had the opportunity to show your hand. And you go around the table, and each of the people pops their hands on the table. Their hand is in their cards. And you see, one by one, none of them meet yours. I don't know why, but my eyes have just gone really watery. Don't know what's going on. I'm apparently dying, it's fine. But yes, so each of them place their hands onto the table. And you see one set of cards, not better than yours. One set of cards, not better than yours. One set of cards, not better than yours. And now it's your opportunity to place them on the table. What do you do?
I put them on the table and I continue with my sad face, pretending that I have no idea that this is good.
All right, so you kind of just like coyly just like put them on the table, and at this point Tarron is like kind of like hiding laughs behind his hand as the rest of the tables is like, oh, what? And they're just really frustrated with you, and as all of this money heads in your direction. So would you spend some time here, or?
Heck yes, I'm gonna beat them again.
All right.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
So you both spend some time here. And before you know it, it has been a few hours. Tarron has a few drinks. And he's looking pretty wobbly.
Oh, good.
Would G also be having any drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
I am
Roll me a constitution
terrified
saving
of that answer because I feel like she probably, as the party host, shouldn't be getting too trashed. Okay, that's fine. That's a 19 plus a 2.
You know, you're fine.
Please tell me I only have
At
to
this
roll it
point.
once.
At the
Okay.
moment. At the moment. So at this point,
counts
like,
forever.
Desmond has been looking after you the most. Like, you know, he's always got your back. And he's making sure that, you know, like, you've got drinks in front of you and at all times, but also making sure that you have, like, water beside you so that you're keeping hydrated. And, you know, at one point you're even like, oh, I'm not really feeling a drink. I might just have, like, an orange juice, and he'll go and grab something for you. Speaking of, I might get some water for myself and have a little mini break. Did you need to shoot off and do anything at the moment?
I mean, I have my drink down on the floor that I can just refill with. But yes, small break is fine.
My throat is dying, and I don't know why, and I think it's making my eyes water.
Oh no.
No, it's like, like, it's like there's a hair in my throat. I don't know, it's really gross. But anyway.
Go get some water.
I will. All right, so let's return back into that one. So you spent the last hour with Tarron. And you're kind of finding through this time, like, as he's getting further into the evening, he's getting a lot more comfortable with you. It's a lot less, like, fidgeting and such, and he just kind of seems to be, like, laughing with your jokes and all of that kind of thing. And just kind of, like, through general body language, just seems to be paying a lot more attention to you than he was before. Not that he wasn't, more that he's more comfortable with your presence now. And
excellent.
Even though you've played for quite a few rounds and you've shown that you know the game, he's still kind of like sitting there just kind of being like a bystander. Like, he's not giving you pointers or anything. He's just kind of watching what you're doing and just kind of like giggling every now and then when you like pull off a really good deception, or when he sees bad cards, he's just like, oh, how's she gonna do it? And then is like simultaneously really impressed when you manage to pull something off. And he's just kind of sitting there being your little cheerleader, silently on the side there.
Aww.
Eventually, you start to draw the attention of some of the other party members. So people running around and such, they obviously just want to have a little bit of a chat with the host. And every now and then you have people come up and they'll whisper things into your ear, which is just general, like, you know, oh, you look really lovely tonight and whatever. You know, have you got a drink and all that kind of thing. Until you hear a very familiar voice booming from behind you. Gee, my dear, how is your party going? It's so wonderful to see so many people here. Look at you all dolled up. That's my girl.
Hello, Mother.
Ooh, what are you playing?
Go fish.
Go fish. I haven't heard that one. You'll have to introduce me to all of your wonderful friends.
Yeah. I don't recall telling you I was having a party.
Well, I mean, I heard about it. Of course, we all did. Me and your father.
And he hasn't come to say hi?
He's just there. He's just talking with that young gentleman. I'm not too sure his name. There's a lot of people here I don't recognize. Who is your friend?
This is Kevin.
Tarron will just like like he's had a few too many drinks to like actually be subtle about it at all. He just has a bit of a laugh. Your mother's just like, Kevin. All right.
He's a really tall dwarf.
Tarron is just like, he's doing that kind of silent giggle thing, you know, where like you've just like, you're trying so hard not to laugh, but your shoulders are just like jumping.
Just having silent convulsions, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to go oversee something in the kitchen. I'll be back. I will definitely come back to see you, Mother. Say hi to Dad for me. And she's just gonna yeet.
All right. You go to eat. Are you heading actually towards the kitchen?
I am heading to. I'm looking for signs of Desmond.
Fair enough. So you would expect
in
that
the
he would
general
probably
direction
be
of
around
the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make your way through to the kitchen, and you see out of the corner of your eye, your mum goes to follow you for a second, and then she kind of thinks the better of it, and she strikes up a conversation with the nearest person to her there. And you realize that the person that she's speaking to is kind of like the son of a real old grouchy merchant. And you just get the feeling that, like, you get a little bit of satisfaction from the fact that she will probably talk his ear off. And he's probably one of those people that's like, was a courtesy invite, you know?
Yep.
All right. So you head your way into the kitchen, and Desmond is there just ordering off people into different directions in his standard way, as he normally does, kind of signaling and being like, you're covering this section, you're doing this part, you're doing this part, you're doing this part. I've seen 3 people without drinks. What's going on with that? That kind of thing. And
the actual party host.
Yeah. And you approach behind, and it's almost like he can sense your presence, and he immediately turns and goes, Lady G, how may I assist you? And you can see that he's like quite flustered, got a little bit of sweat on his face.
Not that I want to cause problems, but my parents are here, and I'd like to cause problems. Can we? How do you usually make them leave?
I can handle this. Give me but a moment. I'm so sorry, my lady, for letting them in. I don't even know how they got in.
Honestly, I kind of feel like they know a secret door that I don't know about. And I know a couple of secret doors, but there must be extras.
I will get someone to look into that. That's
like
a very
rats.
good point. You said that, not me.
Yeah, I'm allowed to.
I will handle it. And Desmond will stroll out. And you kind of see, like, his back is kind of a lot straighter than it was before. And he's kind of got this, like, you know, almost like the whole, like, cracked neck kind of pose to him. Like, he's about to cause some shit.
I love this man so much.
And he strides out. And you're left in the kitchen with just people bustling around you. And what's the plan? You'd head straight back in, or?
I'm gonna stick around in the kitchen a little bit and like offer the kitchen staff cupcakes or whatever that they have in there and be like, it's okay, I won't tell anybody. Like, it's my party, you can have a cupcake. I think you should have a cupcake, they're really good.
So just kind of like offering the, like they'll be heading out with like plates of food and you'll just be like, have that. Oh, that looks nice.
You should eat the thing.
Yeah, fair. And a lot of them look really like appreciative. Not that they're not eating or anything, it's just more like kind of they get that more sense of laxness, whereas Desmond kind of holds a tight leash kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you understand. But yeah, so you kind of make friends in the kitchen. And a lot of them will kind of like, you found that as you're doing this as well, someone has prepared you like a nice little side plate filled with like some of your favorite desserts and things, just kind of things that they've picked up and known that you've really enjoyed. What do you think would be kind of on that plate for G? I know that you said that her food taste, like her favorite foods change, but...
Yeah. I don't really know. I feel a little bit like a lot of her taste, like I said, it changes often, would basically be like, what looks the prettiest? I'm going to go for that. And hope that most of the time it's good. But I think from what we've done, I think she'd be more like she's more of a savory person, I think, than sweets.
Fair
which
enough.
Is weird for me to say,
That's weird.
being
Yeah.
that I am a sweets person. But every time we go somewhere, we're like, let's get tapas. And that's not really sweet food. So I feel like she's probably a savory person.
I don't know how to feel about this.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Weird. All right.
Yeah, no. Cheese. Lots of cheese.
Lots of cheese. We can go with lots of cheese. Cheese is a very good alternative. And so they kind of like pile it up with different types. We're gonna, look, I think aesthetically the blue cheese would be good for you. However, you don't like blue cheese. So, you know, it's fine.
Just because I don't like blue cheese doesn't mean she doesn't like blue cheese.
I mean, I was thinking more like blue vein because I just think that would look really cool.
Yeah, it's fancy looking.
Yeah. And plus, like, you know, it's fancy cheese. And like maybe they give you a couple of pieces that have like still like the wax edge on it. And that kind of stuff as well. It's just like the real fancy expensive stuff that they know that you'll enjoy. And then like some really nice grapes and a few strawberries and things on the side.
I'm gonna eat a bit of that in the kitchen while I wait to make sure that there's been enough time to get my parents out of the place. And so I don't have to see them again, even though I promised I was coming back, because that just wasn't going to happen. And
you catch just like maybe 5-10 minutes after Desmond has left, you catch just the end of a, well, I'll speak with you later, as the big door closes. And it feels like the party kind of collectively, like kind of, you know, when something tense is happening in a room and then that thing leaves and then it's like, it sort of seems to breathe a sigh of relief in the noise level. So before it was kind of hushing up because it just, people could sense the tenseness. But now that your parents had left or been removed, it appears that everyone's kind of going back up to full volume again. You know, they're not the teenagers caught by the parents at the party kind of thing. It's now like they're the teenagers with no parents and there's no parental surveillance. Surveillance? What is surveillance here? Supervision? That's the one.
I mean, surveillance, that works for drunk young people at a party.
Yeah. Fair. But yeah, so Desmond will come back in and this time he's carrying like a rather interesting looking cocktail for you. So it's been a couple more minutes after the doors closed. This one looks kind of like a Bloody Mary, except instead of the typical red tomato juice, instead it's like this kind of like sedimenty blue juice that goes through there. And he goes to hand it to you and he's just, it is tomato juice, it's just a different color. Magic. I thought you might enjoy it.
Magic tomato juice?
All right. Perfect. And yeah.
Also, thank you.
It's okay, it was surprisingly easy. They did, however, want me to let you know that they may be deciding to set you up on a few blind dates.
No.
Just thought I'd give you a heads up. Something about cute young people or something.
Yeah, because I'm absolutely sure I can trust their judgment on that.
Yeah, they really like that merchant's son, and
Oh, fucking hell. So do we have plans to fake my death?
I can arrange that if you'd like.
You should probably start working on it.
You wouldn't be able to stay here, though, if you faked your death.
It would almost be worth it. He is infuriatingly boring. Okay, well, that's a problem for later, G. I'm gonna go drink this with tomato juice.
Okay, enjoy. Just let me know if you don't want another.
Thank you again. Yes, thank you. I will.
All right. So you head back out. Is it immediately back to the table? Are you running around the room? What are you doing? Tarron's kind of looking like he's like fiddling with his thumbs a little bit. Like he's a little bit lost now that you're not there. Like he's kind of like having like mild conversation with the people around him. He's not like just completely excluding them. And Rosie on the other side of the room seems to be very well into a conversation, and she's kind of like doing a lot of hand gestures and stuff. She seems to be like kind of taking over the conversation over there.
I know that there are 2 people I'm supposed to be watching, but is there anything else interesting happening?
In what way? What kind of interesting things are you looking for?
Oh. I don't know. Does anybody look like they're doing something that they shouldn't really be supposed to be doing in my house?
Ooh, I like it. Roll me a perception check. So something that you would find suspicious, right?
This is pre-rogue, G. That's a 3 plus 1.
Everyone looks like they're in the room.
There are certainly people here.
However, you do see at this point, and you're kind of feeling it a little bit, especially as you're having a bit of your drink, you're kind of feeling a little warm. Like, you know, like everything's kind of like coming to your cheeks. You know when you've like, you're inside with heating and you kind of like everything, like the warmth hits you differently. And obviously you've had a few drinks now. And you see and you remember the nice cool breeze that comes through from the balcony. If you did need a brief moment, you could maybe head out there. But otherwise, everyone seems kind of immersed in their own conversations. It does seem like there are a few like arm wrestling competitions going off in one of the corners. Like everyone's kind of getting to the point in the night where it's like a little bit rowdy.
Yep.
But like still composed rowdy. It's just like everyone's being silly and being like, haha, I'll show you.
Yeah, we're not at let's start a fight kind of rowdy. It's still friendly rowdy.
That's correct.
I'm very tempted to go attempt to arm wrestle someone. Just let me. I'm gonna roll myself a Constitution saving throw to figure out if I want to go do some arm wrestling with my -1. That's a nat fucking 20. So I am feeling incredibly confident.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
God, I couldn't have saved that for the actual arm wrestling. G's gonna go over there, like flounce over there, all like skirts and confidence and stupidity. And be like, I can beat you. I'm strong.
All right.
Wrestle me.
So you come up and you see that it's a group of people who all, to put it frankly, are jacked. Like, they've got huge biceps. They look like most of them are smiths or something along the lines. You see one tall gentleman there, and he's familiar to you. He's the Royal Armourer. Gunther Winston, who seems to be arm wrestling with kind of like a smaller in stature human, but who seems to be kind of keeping up with him at this point. And they're all laughing and smiling and giggling and such and having a good time. And you kind of like roll up and kind of like I want to go next.
My turn, bitches.
Gunther looks to you and he gets this big grin on his face. He's like, in a sec, Lady G. And as they're just standing there, their eyes locked. It takes a moment, they're struggling, but eventually Gunther manages to directly down onto the table. And he stretches his hand out a little and invites you to take a seat.
Excellent. G's gonna not flex because that would be very obvious that she doesn't have any muscles. She's gonna roll her shoulders and be like, yeah, can do this.
Okay.
She's put her drink down somewhere.
All right. Well, imagine that there's a little bit of a spot beside you, kind of like a little bit on the a column in the foyer that you can pop it on. Easy piece. What am I talking about? Like a shelf thing? Shelf, maybe? I don't know.
Shelves are things.
Okay. Arm wrestle. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Strength check, please.
Oh my god, that's a nat 20, but unfortunately it's -1.
But it's still a nat 20.
Yeah.
And I did get a 12.
Oh.
So, initially Gunther seems like his arm's quite lax. He's just, he doesn't want to absolutely embarrass you, but at the same point, he's going to make it an arm wrestle. And he's just kind of got this coy smile on his face. And then you just look back at him, having just cracked his shoulders and such, and you just, and his arm goes most of the way down. He only just manages to catch his arm at the end, and you just see this look of shock on his face, oh my god. Roll again.
Oh, fuck now. That's a 7 -1. So 6.
Okay. So that then...
We started out strong.
You did. That's the important thing. And Gunther kind of lets out a deep belly laugh, a really genuine laugh, as he just kind of manages to fairly easily move your hand up. Roll again.
It's a 6 -1. 5.
Okay. With his critical success, he manages to basically fully move your hand from the middle all the way down. And he looks to you and he's just like, I'm impressed. You've really got me at the start there. You should come down to the Smith sometime and practice. Get some good biceps going.
I mean, yeah, why not? That sounds like fun. You could make me a knife. I could get you to make me a knife. I could pay you to get me a knife. Not I could get you. I'm not just going to tell you make me a knife. I have been looking at getting some knives.
I can make you some knives. What kind of knives do you like?
Small ones that are easy to hide.
Hair ones? Leg ones?
Yes.
Both?
I like that. Yeah, I have this idea for a hairpiece where it's kind of like a fan, but each of the little bits are actually really small knives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could be difficult, but I'm keen to give it a go.
I believe in you.
You know what? I'll have it to you. 2 days.
Excellent. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for the arm wrestle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go before I lose again.
Yeah, that's probably fair. In that kind of weird older people kind of way when they're paying you out for being a youngin', it's just kind of you young people,
And your entire lack of muscles.
Also that. All right, back to the party. Where you at? What you gonna do?
I'm gonna have the hiccups for a second.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I didn't actually get any information out of Tarron about anything that I was supposed to ask him about.
Well, the party is not over.
We're friends now. Yeah, we're friends now. So I'm going to go interrogate him friendlyly.
Friendlyly?
Friendlily.
Okay. Sure. You run over and go back to talk to him. It seems that the chair next to him is still not occupied. Everyone's kind of sensing, like, the kind of awkwardness from him, and everyone's just kind of getting to the point where they're all kind of moving away a little bit. But you manage to seat yourself next to him. His face brightens up when you get back. So, back for some more games.
20 questions?
20 questions, I can do that. How does it work?
You know, honestly, I'm not really sure. I mostly ask questions. I don't know if there are rules. But I say, like, hi, my name is G, what's your name? And you tell me the answer, and then you ask me a question, and then I ask you a question, and then we ask 20 questions. I think it's like 10 each, maybe.
So we each ask each other a question. We don't have to answer the same question?
Maybe? Look, I'm a little lax on the rules. It's been... Look, it's a kid's game. They haven't played for a while, but I feel like we didn't talk about much. We just fleeced some people of money, which was fun. But, questions.
Maybe
I actually have no idea how you got invited to my party, so I'd like to know things.
Fair, I guess. I was invited genuinely, just...
Oh no, if you hadn't been invited, you would have been kicked out, like ages ago. So obviously you made it on the list, but I didn't really make the entire list.
Right. It's you. I'm not going to pretend to even know. Sure.
Politics. It's politics.
And as he's about to say yes, you see from the corner of your eye a flash of red as Rosie takes up the seat beside you. And she's just, Lady G, Tarron there, no title. How are you both tonight? Still going well?
Yes. Now that my parents are gone, they didn't get you, did they?
They tried. I just did a deft little scoot and just kind of blocked the way before Desmond quickly dealt with them. He's an excellent butler, by the way.
He really, really is.
If he wasn't here, I don't know that he'd last that long. He'd just be snapped up immediately.
You can't have him.
I mean, I could ask very nicely.
And I could say no.
Yeah. And as you're saying this as well, you hear the doors slowly creak open. And instead of the normal, like, everyone doesn't really pay a lot of attention, this time there are kind of like little murmurings and whispers and such throughout the crowd. And you look behind you and you see that Carter is entering alongside Camphor, and they're both dressed still in like fairly casual for their outfits or their normal looks, but dressed head to toe in kind of purples and deep navies and such. Carter's kind of dressed in like a off the shoulder, like long floor length purple dress. It's form fitting and wonderful. But Camphor is kind of in like, you know, like, I'm trying to get a vibe going here. You know, like open dress shirt with like a necklace and like pulled up jeans with like a belt. You know, there's, and like maybe like cuffed at the bottom with like some really nice boots. It's like a whole look going there.
I see it.
But you do notice that Camphor himself does look very thin compared to the last time that you've spoken to him. And so you see that briefly from what Carter had mentioned from before. But the rest of the eyes in the room go towards them. Rosie and Tarron do quickly cast their eyes over, but then they look back to you and they're just... and everyone else just kind of like slowly, like, you know, when there's something interesting going on, everyone kind of like gravitates towards it. As everyone's kind of moving away, people are getting up from the tables and all of that kind of thing. Tarron will look to you and Rosie and will say, maybe we take the questions outside.
Sure.
I'm assuming 20 questions can extend for 3 people.
I think it becomes 30 questions if we each ask 10 questions each, but absolutely.
Sure. Let's do it. All right. And you kind of lead everyone through, and it looks like Tarron was expecting you to go out the front for air, but you just kind of go like, no. And you go and lead them out to the balcony, one of the many balconies that you have. And you find a nice little spot with kind of like a little stone stool and 2 beside it. So it's kind of like a comfy little space. The air is nice and chill, and it's not too cold out there at the moment. Questions?
Yeah, I didn't actually think of any.
We can just do like, just if there's anything major, we can pretend that the others are all like small shit. That doesn't really matter.
One of them would definitely be, what do you do for a job?
Tarron will, you're asking to Tarron or Rosie? Because I'm guessing you're...
I know what Rosie does.
Well, Tarron will ask Rosie then.
We'll think of a question for Rosie.
Okay, so Tarron will turn to you and will just, I do some work for the Senate. I kind of work as their, I don't really know the equivalent title, administrator, marketer, I don't know, I run around and tell people about all the good things they're doing and occasionally go with them on little treks. They even ask me for advice sometimes.
Rosie does the advice thing.
Right. Rosie just kind of is like sitting there like kind of twirling her hair at this point, like just kind of not really paying like a heap of attention and just kind of sipping away at her drink. Any other questions in particular that you're looking to ask it?
Honestly, not that I can think of immediately.
Okay.
I want to go back with Rosie to the, she's like, oh, I've been getting some, like, letters. I'm going to try to, if we're asking questions and everybody answers the question, I'm going to be like, what's the weirdest letter you've got, like, in the last month?
All right. So you say that to the group.
Really subtle. Don't be suspicious.
Really subtle?
Don't be suspicious.
So, Tarron will start. And he will just go, I received love poetry from a previous lover of mine. Not good poetry either.
Is that not the best kind of poetry? I mean, unless you want it to be.
I mean, I very much am not interested in seeing her again. Ever. She, was a bit of a time.
We've all been there. I don't think I've gotten bad poetry before. I don't think anybody's ever written me a poem before.
No one's ever written you a poem?
No, I actually think I'm a little bit jealous. Even bad poetry, I don't think anybody's ever written me a poem.
Good to know. And he kind of just like shares a warm look with you for a moment. Rosie just kind of looks at you and she kind of like looks at both of you like from the top of her glasses. She's kind of taking a drink. And then she looks at you and she'll just... I keep receiving these letters with this inscription on them. Seems to be a claw. Holding something. In red ink. Just keeps coming up in these letters. Usually followed by, you know, I will come to your house and I will murder you, and, you know, all that general, you know, if you don't pass this letter on to fight. No.
Oh, I've gotten that letter before. I Are you scared?
Not at all. I mean, nothing's happened, and they've said plenty of things at this point. I'm sure it's nothing. Could just be those pesky crows.
Bird-themed organizations.
I'm not entirely sure what their name is. Do you know Tarron? And Tarron will look to her and she'll just believe they're most commonly called the Ravens. Ah, right, the Ravens. Predominantly a group of elves, correct? Tarron will just... As far as I'm aware, as far as the Senate knows. Rosie will just, interesting. And you kind of see this, like, animosity between the two.
Oh, good. Just a second.
Lily, please.
Lily, I am busy. I literally just tucked you into this bed 30 seconds ago. She got out of it, but not the whole way. The blanket was still on her butt, and she was like, but it's not on my head anymore. Anyway. She's back. She's tucked in.
If you don't necessarily have any questions, you'll kind of get some information from both of them. You'll find out that Rosie herself grew up in a den again, which you did know, but you kind of haven't ever had like that much of a personal conversation with her before about it. And she'll kind of go through like some of her family and such, but they're not anyone overly notable. She was mainly someone that just, she had a merchant for a father, and he didn't really ever have like a lot of money, kind of like that middle class kind of area there. But she was always determined to do something with her life that wasn't just selling goods, and she decided to work for the Queen upon meeting Carter just shortly after she was married to Camphor. And she'll kind of tell you a little bit more about the letters, in that they've had investigations into the local, through the local guard in trying to work out where they come from, but nothing has come up about it. The only thing that seems to be similar are these red marks on these letters.
Would she tell us if anybody else has been getting letters, or is she just being like, I am getting letters and this is why I am a concern?
She is only saying that she is getting letters.
That's fine, we're being subtle. So we're not gonna push this. I still haven't thought any more questions.
Maybe with Tarron.
It would be really good if I went like, I want to play 20 questions, and I have 20 questions.
Nah. We could just do generals. Like, it doesn't have to be like actual questions. And Tarron will tell you a little bit about his work with the Senate. He kind of has like an all-rounded job. Like, he's kind of like the footman. He's the one that kind of runs around and kind of feels the temperature of different places and that kind of thing. And so he's mostly responsible for dealing with like mild disputes and that kind of thing. It's just that he doesn't make it sound that interesting because he's just not very good with explaining things all that well. As much as he tries.
I was going to give him shit for being a bard that doesn't explain things very well, and then I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, maybe. And yeah, he just kind of says that, you know, like his job is mainly like, I guess consider it like a community manager, right? Like he runs around and he amps up the things that the Senate is doing. Like they're planning on fixing the roads and stuff, and they'll go around and attend like little community gatherings and that kind of thing, and just generally just try and say what good he can about the Senate, but also try and bring issues to their attention. But also run around paperwork and all of that kind of boring stuff. He just does everything.
Jobs, man. G can't relate.
Yeah. And yeah, you spend
Which, I mean, she will absolutely tell them if we're talking about jobs. They're just like, oh yeah, we both have these really important jobs. And G is like, I'm pretty.
Yeah. That's what happens when Tarron turns around to ask you, and Rosie will kind of just kind of... Jobs, hey G?
Yep. Very, very important jobs. I have a very important job, and my very important job is to look like this in public places.
I'm sure.
That's it. Yep. It's very important. It like ups morale or whatever.
And Tarron is just kind of like nodding along, like he seems kind of a little bit gullible. A little bit. And you kind of spend some more time out here, and once you've kind of gone through those, is there anything else roughly that you want to know?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, perfect. So yeah, they kind of talk about this, and they kind of talk about like just kind of general stuff, like the fact that Rosie kind of brings up a little bit more about Camphor and how he is still quite sick, and that they're looking to build a new research facility for issues like this and such. Kind of because in the absence of not having a university or a main academic ground here, they're kind of looking to start that up. But it's also been started because of Camphor's infra. Yeah, I was like, what is the what? Catalyzed? I don't know.
The catalyst has been.
Yes.
The sickness.
Yes. That sounds much, much better. And yeah, they look to be building a tower just outside of Adenigant called the Life Spire.
God, I didn't realize it was that new.
That's quite new. It actually isn't even finished yet in the campaign. But, you know. I
feel like I probably should know that.
There are just a lot of towers in Adenigant, let's be real.
Terra.
Alright. So yeah, once you've kind of gotten to the end of your questions there, Tarron will kind of just talk about in general, like, Mineas is pretty boring, there's not a lot that happens there. Everyone's just really old stuffy elves and they just get grumpy about stuff. Not that exciting. And yeah, you'll eventually feel like a natural end to the conversation comes, and you'll be getting ready to head back inside. And as you do, kind of collecting up your stuff and getting ready to head back in, you walk in as someone else walks out, accompanied by a smaller, like darkly hooded, but still like not in a suspicious kind of way, more in like an aesthetic choice kind of way. Shorter dwarf, accompanied by a very tall and ornately dressed tiefling. She has red skin and horns that reach up into the sky, and she would easily reach like 6 feet 5 inches. Whatever that would be in centimeters, I don't know. It's hard. She's like a whole foot taller than you.
Oh, excellent.
And that's without heels. And that's also not including the height of her horns either. So she towers over each of you there. And you see that like in between her horns, like there are necklaces and just general like chains and things that are kind of making it all up. Like it seems like it's a bit of a hazard if you were to be trying to put clothes on and off or whatnot. And she's kind of wearing one of those like cowl neck dresses.
Yep.
You know, like the ones that gather at the front. And yeah, to show off even more golden tattoos down her arm. And she kind of casts you a glance, like a curt glance, and she nods in your direction and then heads on out into the balcony. And as you're kind of walking away, you can kind of look back to her, and she does appear to just be sitting on the seat out there talking with the dwarf beside her. Throwing dice around. And yeah, then you head back on into the party.
just quickly before I go inside, do they look like tents? I'm going with like curt nod, just being like either hello, I'm on my way to do a thing, or like a this is serious business kind of.
Okay. Roll me an insight check.
Oh, that's 19.
19.
Only +2 at this stage.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's for a level 1. Like,
I know.
So, you look up at the taller tiefling lady, and she did give you that curt nod, but you kind of get the sense that there's kind of an urgency in her step there. Almost like she needed to go out and have this conversation. She needed to be out there, and you maybe get the impression that she needed to be outside of other people's eyes. That whoever this person is maybe like an advisor or like a friend or something like that. And she had something that she desperately needed to discuss. She didn't look like she was unwell. Didn't look like she had any other reason for being out there.
Okay, I've had the hiccups on and off this entire time.
Rosie will lean into you and she will just whisper to you. She's like, she's from Estival.
Ooh.
Some big hot shot over there.
She's very tall.
Very tall.
She's taller than you.
It's not that hard.
You're taller than me.
Maybe you're just short.
Okay, look, that's accurate.
She'll just giggle off to herself. And Tarron will kind of like look a little bit lost in thought for a moment. And how are you going to spend the next couple of hours?
Continue drinking.
Continue drinking. Okay, roll me 2 constitution to save the throws. English.
Oh God, 2. Okay.
I would also like to point out that it would be with a disadvantage at this point.
Okay, well, in which case, the first one was a 19 and a 9, so that one's a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is a 12 and a 10. So, plus my modifier, it's an 11 and a 12.
Okay.
Oh, God, we were going so well.
It is consecutive drinking over a long night. It's fine. But yeah, so you're starting to feel it at this point. Like your cheeks are pretty warm, and you're kind of getting that little bit of a sway on. Tarron's kind of looking like he's struggling a little bit more. He was already quite into it. And Rosie has kind of got this nice, like, rosy look to her face.
No, really?
Yeah. But yeah, you guys are just kind of like, doing that thing that drunk kids do, and you're just like being really friendly and close and whatnot. And you guys all sit at the table and you start playing some card games with some more other people at the table. And eventually a few more hours go by and go by and go by. And eventually people start picking themselves up and either heading out the door or kind of settling themselves in another part of the room, maybe finding a chair to sit on or something like that. Until it is just left with the 3 of you and some rando, like, who's just kind of like passed out at the table.
Yep.
And Desmond's kind of doing his general run around and he's kind of filling up your drinks and such as he was before, but he's kind of like starting to lax off and it looks like it's getting to like nearer the end of the evening. And at this point you're all giggles and such. And Rosie looks to you both and you've just successfully played a couple of rounds of blackjack. And
I understand how that one works.
And she looks to you both and she just, I think we should make this interesting.
How?
What's something you can bet that you wouldn't bet to anyone else? Maybe that nice butler of yours.
Absolutely not. I have a better idea. My parents want me to get married.
Married?
So, instead of marrying, I don't know, someone obviously terrible.
And
They're
Tarron
picking.
just cuts you off and he's like, oh, you could marry us!
No, that's what I was thinking!
Yes!
You can't have my butler. You can have me.
And Rosie will just, let's let the cards pick, shall we?
Okay.
I'm willing to bet that. But I want your butler if I lose. If I win. What if I lose?
Okay, so how does this work? If you win, you get my butler.
Mhm.
If you lose, you marry me.
Yeah.
And if you lose, you also marry me. If you win, what do you want?
Man, it's like being here. I don't know, like... a cool sword. Maybe like a lute or something. You got something cool?
Oh yeah, I have like a ton of musical instruments that I don't play very often. Can have like 3 of them if you win.
Cool. Good trade, good trade.
So if I win, you marry me. And if I lose... Tarron, do you want a butler? I don't really want to offer my butler to 2 different people.
I don't... My house has like 2 rooms. And a bedroom. And a bathroom.
So like 4 rooms.
Yeah, but it's really small. It'd be like the size of this foyer.
That's true. Where would you put the butler if you won the butler?
I don't know, I'd just give him back to you.
Okay. In which case, if I lose, you can have my butler because it means I get to keep my butler, which means I win.
Okay. Sounds like a fair deal.
Yes.
And at this point, he's just like, he's happy to go along with it. He's very chill. And yeah, so you start to play some cards. All right.
Am I supposed to be rolling this?
Yeah, so I roll.
Or are you just rolling? Okay.
I'm rolling for you.
Oh.
You end up with a 20.
This is still blackjack, yeah.
This is still blackjack. So
Okay,
it's only because I know the rules, so I'm like,
That's
okay,
good.
this is fine. So you end up with a 20. You know it's not obviously blackjack. However, it's not a bad hand. What is your goal? Are you gonna suss out the other 2?
Yes.
Gonna try and get yourself an ace? What's the plan for the first round?
I am absolutely not going to try and get an ace for the first round. That seems like a terrible, terrible idea. I want to kind of tipsily like stare into their faces and see if they've got like a tell. I assume I wouldn't know that about Tarron at all, but I might know that about Rosie.
Okay, sure. Roll me an insight check with disadvantage.
Disadvantage. Okay, that is an 18 and a nat 1.
Oh! Oh, you got no idea?
No.
You kind of got the, you know, like the when you, like, you know, it's getting later and that kind of thing. You got that thing going where, like, you try to look at someone, but then you're just kind of, like, not focusing quite as much as you should be. Yeah. Or, like, you see some movement behind you and you're like, oh. And it's just Desmond running around, going and grabbing some drinks or, like, cleaning up a little bit or something.
He has no idea his life is at stake.
He's got absolutely no idea. If you'd roll better, maybe you'd see something else. No. Anyway. So the dealer puts a card down. It is a 6. All right. Second round. You have 20 still.
Hmm?
Are you going to stay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Not going to attempt to get a better card?
Nope.
Roll me a perception check.
Just straight perception?
Mm-hmm.
12 plus 1 is 13.
13. You see Rosie do kind of like an unnatural movement.
I'm sorry, my brain has just instantly gone to like a fucking possessed, her head spins around.
Oh, no, not that kind of
and
unnatural.
I know that's not what you mean, but my brain's like,
wee woo, wee woo.
Super unnatural.
Yeah, but otherwise you don't really seem to see much. Tarron just looks like he's having a good time. He's staring at his cards, but he's kind of got them like a little bit too close to his face.
What an idiot.
He's a cute idiot. It's fine.
Yeah, I really like idiots.
All right, and then the second card rolls over. It is a 10. And the other two... Rosie will stay, but Tarron will pick up another card, and then he will place his cards down, and he started with a 10, a 9, and then he got a 6. So well and truly busted.
Yeah.
But he just kind of like has this like goofy little smile on his face. And Rosie at this point is just kind of like looking up at you over her cards and just having a few more sips. And she places her hand down. And it's a 2, a 4,
I'm really bad at maths.
and an 8.
Ha! That's not better than mine.
So, with a big grin, you place your card on the table. A 20. You have successfully won the hand.
Excellent.
Rosie kind of gets a smirk on her face. Tarron's just kind of like, and you're all just like kind of silently cheering. And we kind of like flashback. We kind of flash through a little bit of this where the party has well and truly ended. Everyone has kind of cleared their way out, and you guys have all had this weird giggle fest moment. And you're kind of like rolling through the streets. You just opened the door, and you're kind of doing that thing where you're trying not to wake anyone up, but like you've had too much to drink, so you're just kind of like,
yep. We're being quiet.
Yeah, and
everybody, shut up.
Yeah, so you make your way through the streets, and you eventually find your way to a small temple. And without further ado, you become married. There is a minister inside. One of those like 24-hour ones. You know, it's like a real like interesting affair. No, it's actually
he's just like Elvis.
It's actually someone in there. I just had the image. It's actually someone in there. They kind of a lot of the temple seems to be devoted to kind of like the moon and the stars and the night sky. And so you see when you have walked in there that the priest was in the midst of praying to this. And after some drunken explaining of what happened, eventually he nods his head. He grabs a book and he sits back, and you go through the ceremony. Most of it is it's just like as if you went to church. However, he starts saying things, and he is saying this in Elvish. You speak Elvish? Okay, I think all of you speak Elvish then. So essentially, he is doing the standard kind of marriage speech, but essentially adding in some more like, use the stars to always find your way back, and in like part of me doesn't want to say it because it's really cheesy, but like, let your love guide you back and all of that kind of thing. And each of you are just kind of like looking at each other, and you're just like, you know, like at this point it's just ridiculous. And it's this beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And eventually they tie this ribbon amongst the three of you. And then you all share a drink from the same cup. And he grabs some water from a basin that is just aligned just perfectly to reflect the moon from the position where you are into this bowl. And he collects a small cup and he dabs each of it onto the front of your head before returning it back to the well. He nods his head.
Magic moon water. Magic moon water.
And yeah, this is just what you guys are whispering to each other as you're just sitting there. And part of the priest is just like,
It's like, shit, this was a bad idea. I'm gonna get sued for malpractice.
Yeah, pretty much. And you head on back. All of you just kind of talking about like, you know, like really goofy things, like what married life is gonna be like, you know, like, oh, we could live in G's house, but like, you know, we'd have Desmond all the time. Oh, what if we go like somewhere else? Where are we gonna go for a honeymoon? And then
At some point in time, G absolutely stops in the middle of the road and she was like, you managed to get my butler.
And Rosie will just like, I always get what I want. Hair flick, you know? But yeah, you guys head back and it's just lots of giggles and all of that kind of thing until you get just a ways outside of your house. And Rosie will just, all right, the lady that we saw. Ah, her name was just on the tip of my tongue. She's in Estafall. Tarron's like, yes. You said you remembered. And she says, shh, you. Campana. That's it. She has
definitely a tall person's
some
name.
big heck off mansion in Estafall.
We could go there.
We could go there. And at this point, you're kind of yelling this out the front of your parents' house.
Yep.
And you kind of look up and you see like a light flick on. Like, I'm imagining electricity, you know? Like a candle go on, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. We should go inside.
Probably.
This is not a now conversation. Let's go inside.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you come back in. And Rosie goes immediately up to Desmond and is just, I would like your finest blanket fort, please. And Desmond just looks at her and looks to you, G. And looks back to Rosie. And looks back up at you.
This is my wife. And this is my husband.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Ow. Can we have a blanket fort?
To honor the occasion? Why not? And Rosie just kind of like flings her arms around his neck and kind of like that weird, like, excited cheerleader kind of way. And just kind of does like a little bit of a squeal. And Tarron is just like, you know, like vibing in the side there. And Desmond will kind of like awkwardly shimmy off and he just kind of occasionally looks back at you, G. And before he just shakes his head and just heads on upstairs. And eventually after some time, it seems that he's prepared this ornate and beautiful blanket fort. And like, you know, it's not just like, you know, old sheets and stuff. Like this thing is like covered in like the big tapestries and all of that kind of thing. And he's done enough to like match the patterns so that it looks really aesthetic as well. He's like, there you are.
I get the feeling he's done this many times before.
I get the feeling he's very well practiced in it. It's probably even like a cupboard devoted to it.
Yeah, this is the blanket fort supply closet. G is never going to be able to have another butler. Nobody would be able to come in and do this kind of shit with a straight face.
And he will just kind of nod his head and then leave the room. And is there anything else that you needed to do before the night ends?
I'm going to go into a jewelry box and find some rings.
Okay, sure. So you kind of have a bit of a look through. What kind of rings are you looking for? I'd imagine there'd be something that you would have. Let me know what the rings you pull out are.
Didn't think that far into it. I was thinking that I was probably going to have a bit of difficulty finding something that's kind of plain-ish.
Okay.
So they might be just... She has like a night sky kind of thing, and it was like referenced in the ceremony. So if she has anything that's like sparkly sky looking, maybe something with like darker stones in it.
Okay. I would imagine you'd have quite a few of those. Like, a lot of it would be like kind of silver jewelry with like lapis lazuli, I would imagine, inset into it. And a couple of them are like bands. Like you see 2 bands in there, and then there's one ring with like a thingy. Looks more like an engagement ring. I can't think of what it's called. Like a cage with the thing in it.
A setting.
A setting.
Is that what it is?
Maybe? I don't know.
It's called a setting.
Who knows enough about jewelry to know that?
No,
like off the top of their head. But yeah, so you have 2 bands that kind of have the gemstones are embedded into the ring itself, and then the other one is more of like a delicate one with the setting on top.
Yep.
Are you distributing them?
Yeah, I am distributing rings.
Okay, perfect. And you find another one in there as well, that it kind of has like a instead of blue, it has like red gems that I would imagine you would keep for yourself, kind of as like...
Yeah, because I get 2.
Yeah, you get 2. Everyone else gets 1.
Everyone else gets 1.
And you kind of just sit there and you hand them to them, and you just spend the rest of the night kind of like just sitting there, generally just chatting to each other, like, you know, just kind of like giggling and laughing and like, you know, just kind of having fun with having the blanket fort and stuff, and just
pondering the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely not. You have had too many drinks for this. And but yeah, like just standard general ridiculous pillow fort chat.
Yeah.
And to summarize a few of the things in the next couple of days, after 2 days, you receive a package at your front door. It is a headband, as you had described, with tiny little knives that kind of make up this like headpiece, as you described there. And it seems that each of the little knives has a little space for a little inscription on it. And it's kind of like Gunther will have left you a note that basically says like, once you've worked out what these mean to you, write something on them.
Ooh.
These are really fun to make. I've spoken to Desmond for payment. Don't worry about that. This is a really wonderful experience. Thank you for the idea. It was a wonderful party. Also, I hear congratulations are in order.
Yeah, that's probably getting a note back. That's just like, thank you. Also, thank you for not mentioning that you beat me at arm wrestling.
All right, and you send that off. And as you do that, as you're finishing off writing the note, you hand it over to Desmond. And, like, Rosie is off at the castle today. Tarron is kind of wandering around the city. They've kind of, like, been around. And you guys are kind of getting used to being around each other as well. Like, you haven't just immediately kind of gone, this was a bad decision, and then completely avoided each other. Like, you've actually genuinely tried to chat and talk and that kind of thing. You hear a furious knocking at the door. Gee, what is this I hear about a marriage? In fact,
I would like to
2 marriages?
Back to the kitchen. I'm going to try to get to the kitchen.
All right, so you head on through to the kitchen. You're kind of currently in like the dining room So you kind of make your way through to the kitchen. You pass Desmond on the way, and he kind of looks at you and he says, "Oh shit, what do I do?"
I'm gonna hide in the fridge.
Sure. I can get them away, maybe? Okay, sure.
Maybe you could tell them that I died.
I don't know that they'll believe that. You know you're gonna have to speak to them eventually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But not today!
That's fair. Alright, look, I'll deal with it. You go hide in the fridge. I'll get you in a second when the coast is clear.
Thank you.
Alright. And you go and kind of hide in like the walk-in like refrigeration place. It's kind of cold, but like not too bad because you've just kind of like left the door open, like ready to close it if someone comes, but just kind of like ready to go.
I don't know if we've talked about electricity, so it's entirely possible it's just like a cellar. A really chilly,
I like to think
cellar.
that like if we have magic, we have electricity, right?
Yeah.
You
that's a good
know,
point.
like kind of like a magical main system. Anyway, you hear from the foyer. You hear Desmond calling out to your parents, trying to calm them down. But you hear your mother's voice resounding over it all. Just yelling and screaming. How could you do this to us? We gave you so many opportunities in life, and you squandered them to marry who? The royal advisor? And this elven lackey? And Desmond, you can hear again, is like just trying to calm them down, just trying to be like, she's not here right now. I can leave a message for you if you'd like. It's not really a good time. And she's just yelling and screaming, and she's like, you need to be out. If you do not leave the city, and I know that you can hear me, if you do not leave this city within 24 hours, I will sell this house. If you are not gone for a minimum of 6 months to learn from your mistakes, I will take everything from you, young lady. And Desmond, you just hear is like kind of gone silent, but you can kind of like slowly hear the door creak closed. Like he's kind of like managed to like push her back. And you hear it resounding click as the door closes. Slow footsteps coming back up, and you recognize them as light and feathery like Desmond's. Walks into the kitchen, catches you kind of like standing in the doorway, ready to bolt at any moment. He says, well, they're gone.
Yeah, so maybe I don't need to talk to them if I have to leave the city within 24 hours.
Yeah, maybe not.
Can you help me pack? I think I probably need to pack. What do you pack for 6 months?
I'll send you with some money, too. An allowance.
Oh, shit.
I have access to all of that. It's not a big deal.
Here's her consequences. But, you know, that guy that she likes is boring.
I agree.
This isn't boring. Yet. I don't think it's gonna be boring. They're nice. Tell me, do you think they're nice? I think they're nice.
Rosie seems awfully, cocky. But that Tarron one seems alright.
1 out of 2 isn't bad.
A little naive, though. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. But nice. Nice is a good starting point. We can grow him some brains. I mean, he's obviously not stupid. He's got like a Senate job kind of thing. Like maybe don't know, he's just too nice.
Does it have anything to do with your mission?
Shh, no.
Gee, I know you too well for that.
No, it does. I mean...
You know you didn't need to marry them to investigate them, right?
No, but it wasn't entirely my idea. I maybe kind of... I think maybe I led the conversation that way a little bit, but I didn't suggest it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, people tell their spouses things. They don't have secrets, and they probably don't lock their desk drawers and stuff. So if I want to read their letters...
Right.
I have access.
I'm finding it hard to argue with that.
Please
flawless...
don't say anything. I can see in your face that you think this was maybe not the best plan. But, I mean, I've gotten good results out of my not best plans before.
I trust you. You know that I'll do anything for you as well. You just send me a message.
Yep.
And I'll do it.
Also...
Even if they need to be buried in a backyard, I'm okay with that.
As long as it's not our backyard.
No, we'll make sure it's framed on someone else, don't you worry.
If it helps, Rosie's idea was that if she won, she got you.
Oh. Okay, maybe I'm happy that it ended up like this instead.
Yeah, like best case scenario. I was never going to let it happen. I'm pretty good. I'm much better at cheating at blackjack than I am at cheating at...
Yeah, that's too true. You're a little bit, gee. You have a style for these things, and it's not exactly,
If you say subtle, I'm gonna cry.
direct? And Desmond just looks really awkward for a moment, and he just turns around and he's just, I will get your things ready.
Thank you.
Get an allowance for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Set you up with a few acquaintances. I'll send some messages. Let them know that you're coming.
You don't happen to know that really tall, pretty tiefling lady, do you?
I believe her name was Campana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was here, so...
Are you looking to find a third wife?
I mean, it would be a second wife.
A third spouse?
No. Nobody asked me to watch her. But, I mean, we were already talking about going to Estfall for, like, a honeymoon. So, if we have, like, a connection, that's better than starting from scratch.
It's true. I think she's throwing a bit of a ball or a gathering or something not too long from now. Pretty much when she returns, actually, if you want me to get you an invite.
Yes, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Okay. I'll go pack. You go relax.
Yep.
Or try to. Is there anything that you wanted to do?
I kind of want to go talk to Carter, but I also don't want to, like, roleplay talking to Carter because I think I will get in trouble, and I don't want to be in trouble.
Okay, sure. What do you roughly want to say to Carter, then? You go and wander over to the castle. Rosie will give you a bit of a wink on your way in. As you pass on by, as Carter's sitting in the throne, there doesn't appear to be anyone in the room at the moment except for a few guards and Rosie right at the front.
If the throne is the kind of throne where if there's nobody else around, I can, like, sit on the corner of it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to like drape myself over the chair and be like, so, I'm going to Estafol for a bit because apparently my parents not a big fan of the plan that I had. Which, I mean, I'm not blaming it on you, but you instigated this.
I'm sorry, where in my instructions did I say marry them?
You didn't. But you also didn't say don't. And
Look, you have a certain finesse for these situations. I have no idea how, but you do. Part of me is impressed.
I know, right?
I don't know how you've managed to convince two people to marry you within a span of, what, like 3-4 hours?
It was surprisingly easy.
Honestly, yeah, just take it away. But also, I don't know how you're going to hold this up for 6 months you're gone in Estafol?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have to stay in Estafol, I just can't stay here.
There are some things, coincidentally, in Estafol that I would possibly ask that you follow up there as well.
Is it gonna get me more wives?
Please don't marry this one.
Oh, okay.
They're more of an organization.
I mean, now you specifically told me not to. Oh god. Yeah, no. Okay.
I think it might have something to do with, Rosie's been different. I've spotted some kind of golden coin with her when she thought I wasn't looking. It just kind of left a bit of an indent in her pocket. And I've heard that cats, or the bellwethers, hold such coins as signifiers of who they belong to. I'm kind of worried.
That would explain. Rosie's not in the room, I'm assuming.
No. So she was at the front.
I passed her
in
in a different room.
Or it's like you have like the initial greeting room, which would be like where you'd sign your name and all that kind of business, and then you've like moved further on. Like this even if she was in the same room, the room would be like hundreds of feet long. Like it wouldn't.
Okay.
But yeah, she's not in the same room anyway.
Okay, in which case, I mean, that could possibly explain why she's getting threats from the ravens.
She's getting threats from the ravens?
Yeah, she called them the crows, but I think she was being just, a tad dismissive. Because, Tarron was there, and he's a raven. I think she was trying to mine information the way that I was trying to mine information. But it didn't really work. She said that she was getting letters with, like, the symbol with the claws and the red ink and the...
Can everyone just not be a part of some secret organization? Yes.
Because you don't have any secrets.
Ugh. Please. I have, like, only the ones you know.
That doesn't mean they're not secrets.
It's true. At least I'm not heading some secret organization. Like...
No, you're heading an entire country. But not secretly.
That's true. Very open about that. You'll be able to look up some things in S4 for me. If that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you a few notes as I go. Obviously. In our own way. If you still remember it. We haven't used it in a while.
I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I'm sure we'll work it out. That Campana.
She's really tall.
She's very tall. Very pretty.
She's so pretty.
But also very dangerous.
Oh. Well. I mean, that could be fun.
Just be careful.
I will.
Very powerful in that area. And I would hate to see you get into any trouble if you end up going digging somewhere that she doesn't want you to be.
I mean, I'm pretty good at getting myself into trouble, but I'm pretty good at getting myself out of trouble.
I wouldn't count on it.
Try. I will try. For you.
Good. Alright, was there anything else that you wanted to fill me in on? I'm gonna be sad to see you go for 6 months.
I know, it's gonna be weird. I've never been out of this city for like longer than a month at a time. Like 6 months is a really long time. My parents were so mad. I was in the fridge and I could still hear my mum yelling.
You were in the fridge.
The
mighty G hides from her parents in the fridge.
Please, you've met my parents.
I've also met you, and I've never known you to hide that much. At least hide in a bedroom or something.
She
That would have been so
walked
cold.
in my bedroom.
She wouldn't have got past Desmond.
Well, we can't take that chance. Anyway, I've been exiled for 6 months. She said if I didn't leave, she was going to sell my house.
Ooh, big words.
I know, I would have had to come live here with you.
Precious trophy child loses her house.
I know.
Mm.
I mean, what's she going to do, though? Disown me? She doesn't have any other children.
It's also very true. She doesn't have a lot of
Half
connections
her reputation is me. Which is probably why she's so angry, to be fair.
Yeah, it kind of all starts to make sense, doesn't it?
It does. Look, it's a plan. It's a plan. It's maybe not a good plan, but I'll keep you updated on the plan and how the plan is progressing. But I have to go. Well, I don't have. Do I have a lot to do? I suppose I have a lot to do. Can I put in like emergency leave for Rosie so she can come with me?
Sure. I'm sure we'll manage without her for 6 months.
Thank you.
I'll just deal with some of these threats myself, shall I?
Oh,
She
no, you
knows she's
couldn't
going
do
with
that.
me?
I haven't told her yet. I actually, she winked at me, and I'm pretty sure I did not manage to convey, by the way, I'm leaving. And you're coming with me, because you're my wife. And that's how things work. We go places together, and we do things together, and, happily ever after.
Okay. I mean, yeah, just let her know. She's welcome to take as much time as she needs, but... Don't be way longer than 6 months, okay?
No, absolutely not. My birthday's in like 6 months.
That is true. We do need you back for that.
Mm-hmm.
Big
I'm pretty
party.
sure Desmond started planning it last year, so... I couldn't miss that.
Had to be bigger and better.
Always.
Alright, well, you should let her know. Otherwise, you'll be stuck here talking to me all day.
Well, it's true. Yes, I will go.
Okay.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too. I'll let Camphor know that you're leaving too.
Yeah,
not
keep
really
me updated on that. He didn't look... I mean, I don't want to, but he didn't look great the other day.
Yeah, he hasn't really been in a state to see people. Turns out the party took a bit out of him, being social and such. So I'm handling a lot more of the public things, and he was always better with that.
You're not bad. It's not bad. Nothing's caught on fire.
You're a pretty good liar, G.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'll let him know that you wish him well. And I'll be in touch.
And she's gonna hop off the throne, where she definitely shouldn't have been sitting, and just let Rosie know that she has holidays booked now, and she can come to Esfo with me and Tarron for like 6 months, although I haven't told Tarron yet, but...
Yeah, sure. Just as you're leaving the throne room as well, Carter will peg like a small little rock at the back of your head, just from the throne, and when you look around to look at her, she'll just...
Why do you even have rocks in here?
For this exact reason. But yeah, you go let Rosie know that you'll be taking her away for a while. Rosie will kind of like look at all the paperwork around her and she'll be like, I got 3 months max.
Better than nothing?
Could maybe make it 4 if I can bring some work with me.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Don't seem so excited. Look, I'll see what I can do about not bringing it with me. Let's have a real honeymoon.
Yeah. That sounds so much better than exile.
Well, you did get married without telling anyone.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, well, I'm the wife.
Yeah.
Have you told
Nope.
big
No, I'm gonna
himbo
find him.
husband or...
Yeah, no, I actually have no idea where he is today. But we'll find him and we'll let him know as well. I can't ask, I'm not friends with his boss. Maybe he can meet us there. I don't know.
All right. So you do manage to find him. Rosie will kind of like give you a couple of ideas of places that he's been or places that he's talked about. And you will find him without too much issue. And you'll let him know what's going on. And he'll say, I could probably get there in 2 weeks after you. I do just need to return home first. But Estafel sounds nice.
It does. I think that means you're gonna miss the party. But 2 weeks. 2 weeks is acceptable. I will see you in 2 weeks and like 1 day.
2 weeks and 1 day. Okay. I'll see you then. I'm sorry that you got kicked out.
It's not exile, it's a honeymoon.
It's not exile, it's a honeymoon. Okay. Let's be positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Aren't you like the advertising spin man?
Sure. At work.
Yeah, well, it works here too.
I'll try my best. I'll try to do better. Sound good?
Yep.
We make a lot of those promises too.
Oh.
I was kidding. It was a joke.
Well.
You know, politicians that constantly saying that it's fine.
Yeah, that one wasn't really funny.
I'll work on that too. Anyway, I will see you soon. You should go pack. Make sure everything's ready.
I don't need to pack my own stuff, but I will go home.
All right. So you head on home. And this has taken 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We technically still have like a whole other half to this.
I know.
So I'm just going to say, is there anything that you want to do before you leave Adenigand? And we can leave this as like a part 1.
Yeah. No, I don't think there is anything that I need to do before I leave.
Okay.
I was going to say, before when I sent the letter to the blacksmith, I'd like to send him like a nice bottle of, probably not wine, he doesn't seem like a wine person.
Mm-hmm.
A nice bottle of whiskey maybe.
Okay.
Because I really like my stabby head thing.
Yeah. All right. So you send on a bottle of whiskey. And it's like quite a nice one, like one that's kind of been sitting around for a while. You might have bought a few years ago, or someone's bought on your behalf. And yeah, you send that on over. You feel like it would be a very appreciated gift.
Good.
Anything else?
I talked
Shopping
about
list
it.
checklist.
Yeah, not that I can think of. I would definitely want to arrange that I have a carriage on my way to Estafall rather than horses.
Makes sense.
But no, I don't think I am not thinking. I'm not thinking.
So basically,
I'm not thinking that there's anything left to think about.
You basically go home and do the teenager equivalent of sitting on your phone while your parents are packing for you, kind of thing. Well, that parent being Desmond.
My basic, my real parent.
Yeah. But yeah, like he'll point out some clothes and things that he wants. Like it's kind of like actively helping you, like kind of being like, thinking about the things that you want and being like, the weather's going to be like this. Do you want this?
Yeah, if you're gone for 6 months, there's going to be winter.
Yeah. And that kind of stuff.